Hi, everybody. I'm back. Made New Monday is back. And I thank you for just taking this time to join me for this week's episode. We're going to talk a little bit about this week's podcast, which is called Enduring the Process. And we're going to take our transformative thought from this week's podcast and we're just going to dig a little deeper into that transformative thought. And so as you listen to the podcast and get the meat of this transformative thought, and also some steps that you can take in and during the process, that everything will just kind of come full circle for you and make sense. And it's my hope that even as you watch this video and you've listened to the podcast, that you just leave some comments below under this video and make sure that you give StreamYard access so that I can see your comments. What I would like to do at the end of every month is maybe just have some time where we can just jump on live and we can talk about past episodes of the podcast. We can talk about the transformative thoughts. Get your ideas, get your feelings about those things as we continue down this journey, down this path of becoming made new, of transforming our mindsets, becoming empowered and then inspired to go out and fulfill our purpose. So, this week's transformative thought from the podcast that is entitled Enduring the Process is I have a promise at the end of this process. Therefore, I will endure. I have a promise on the other side of this process. Therefore, I will endure. So, when we talk about enduring things, we talk about in just going through things, that requires a level of patience. That requires a level of tolerance that we need to go through adversity, to deal with hardships and trials in our lives. We have to endure that process. We have to know that on the other side of this, there is something that God has promised me. And so when we go through those things, we oftentimes, if we're not careful, we spend a lot of time questioning why this has had to happen. Why is this happening to me? I've been through so many things time and time again. And instead of going into that adversity, instead of going into the hardship with that negative mindset, that is the moment that you need to change your mindset and remember that on the other side of this process, I have a promise. There is something that God has shown you. There is something that God has said to you. There is something that God has promised you on the other side of it. But we know in order to get to the other side of that thing, we have to go through that process. We have to go through that time of isolation. We have to go through that time of seclusion. We have to go through that time of feeling like there's nobody on our side, that we can't talk to anybody. Sometimes we need to remember that when we go through things, it's meant for you to be just you and God. It's not meant for you to talk to all your friends about, bring all your family members in on. Sometimes it's just a time for you and God, for Him to talk to you, for Him to endow you with wisdom and knowledge. It's that time that He's so jealous for, that He desires to develop that relationship with us. We are His children, we're His sons and daughters, and He wants nothing more than to have an intimate relationship with us. He wants to talk to us about all of the things that He has for us, all of the plans, all of the missteps. He wants to offer us that correction. Even though we don't want to hear it, it's necessary for us to get to the next level, for us to get through this obstacle, to overcome this hardship. We're going to need Him. We're going to need His wisdom. We're going to need His knowledge. We're going to need His understanding. We're going to need to know the steps. God is very strategic. There is nothing that happens to us just by accident, even if it's a poor choice that we made. God already knew we were going to make that bad decision. He knew that we were not going to do the thing that He told us to do. He knows our beginning from our end. He knows what we're thinking. He knows how we're feeling. So none of the things that happen to us, they don't catch God by surprise. To us, it's new, it's shocking. We begin to panic, we stress out, we become depressed, we allow anxiety to take over. but none of it's new to him. And so if we would learn to trust him and lean on him in the process instead of making our way harder by trying to devise our own plan, then we would find that we could have some joy on the journey. What we have to really be honest in realizing is a lot of times it's the decisions that we make, it's the choices that we make. It's the I know better for myself than anybody else does. I know far better for myself than God does because we have our own agenda. We have this map, this blueprint for our lives. There are things that we want, and there's nothing wrong with wanting those things. But it makes it much better if you consult God about those things because he knows exactly how to help us achieve those things. He knows where we will be able to find favor. He knows the doors that he desires to open for us to meet the right people at the right time to advance us in those places. He doesn't want us to be in a place prematurely that we're not properly prepared to handle what's on the other side of that door. And so if we go with this big lofty plan and we think we're going to take shortcuts and we think that we're going to just snap our fingers and it's going to happen for us automatically, we are sadly mistaken. And if that is the mindset that we go into these things with, what happens is we become frustrated, we become irritated, and then we just give up. But when God has given you a vision, when he has given you a dream, when he has put something in your heart, then he has the plan. He has every step, just line by line. And it is our responsibility to be obedient to every step in that plan. We can't take shortcuts. We can't say, well, I know I heard God say this, but I'm going to do this because I can get there quicker. It's just like being stuck in traffic. You know, sometimes you get that feeling and you're like, maybe I should go this way. And guess what? We don't do it. We don't do it. And then we end up stuck in traffic and then we're upset. And then you get home and you're like, you know, something told me that was the Holy Spirit talking to you. It wasn't something, it was somebody that was talking to you and telling you to go in another way. And so it's the same thing when it comes to the house that we want, the spouse that we want, the promotion on the job that we want, the business that we want to start, the book that we want to write. It has to be done in God's divine timing and according to the plan, according to his will and his purpose for our life. And so when we think about it, if we start with the declaration that we know that there is a promise attached to this process, you'll make the decision to endure. You will make the decision to go through it in order to get to it. And so I hope on this week's episode that you will listen and hear just some of the reasons why we have such a problem with enduring and being patient, and then the tips that you can walk away with to begin the process of learning how to patiently endure. And I hope that you will engage with me. Leave comments under this video. You can send me an instant message. Reach out to me on Facebook. You can reach out to me on my Instagram page. Follow me on Instagram at I Am Made New. You can follow me on Facebook on my business page, which is Made New LLC, comma. There's a comma between the new and the LLC. Or you can join my you can sign up on my website, which is madenewllc.com. If you ever have any questions, if you have any concerns, you can always send me an email at madenewllc.com. I'll be happy to answer any questions for you. You can always schedule a clarity call. You can do that on my website to see how maybe we can even work together to get you past those roadblocks in your life so that you can truly begin that work in healing and transforming and then walking into your purpose. And so I hope that you will join me again next Monday for another Made New Monday. In the meantime, check out my podcast, Transformative Talk with Coach V, on Spotify and Anchor. There is a new episode every Monday morning that is released. I would love to engage with you guys and have conversations, answer any questions that you may have about episodes from season one and catch up with season one and then jump on into season two. And so I'll talk to you guys next week. Remember, today is a great day to be made new, and I am always, always rooting for you.